Crash Dummy is a platforming adventure game developed by 12 Games and published by Funbox Media for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC in 2019.
Fans of our show may recognize the main character.
Not such a dummy now, not such a dummy now, not such a dummy now, am I?
We already played a Wii game called CID The Dummy, starring Sid, a crash dummy with artificial intelligence. We thought we were done with him, but now he's back in a second game.
We were surprised to see a sequel to CID the Dummy since it was,
Ouch! Oh!
CID the Dummy.
Here we go again.
But in case you're not familiar with this masterpiece, let's catch you up. Once upon a time, two scientists worked together to invent sentient dummies. One turned evil, and the other souped up one of their creations, Sid, to stop him. Also, there was a weird daughter experiment that needed rescuing.
Damsel in distress aside, CID the Dummy's plot shares a lot with a certain mega franchise. It also happens to be about one good and one bad scientist who have intelligence-infused pseudo-humans. But believe us, that's the only similarity.
There were story problems, gameplay problems. Oh, and motion controls!
Yes, we played CID the Dummy on the Wii, which was loaded with waggly badness. But now he's back in a 2D side-scrolling platformer, this time with no Wii motion controls in sight.
With different visual and control implementations, there's a chance that Crash Dummy has learned from CID the Dummy's mistakes. Maybe it's not so dumb.
What possible impact will the game have? Well, it's time to find out. Let's meet Sid for another test track spin with Crash Dummy.
When we boot up the game, we're thrust into an opening cutscene. We're in a dummy factory, and one of them's being injected with human life, which apparently looks like Ecto Cooler.
Slimer's new fruit drink. Wow.
You cannot do that!
Detroit barges in on Advisor's work, yelling at him to stop with likely the worst lip sync animation in history.
That's crazy! When we started, we agreed never to infuse human life in an artificial body.
He tries to stop the operation, accidentally getting fried to a crisp in the process.
Detroit!
Then, for some reason, he's picked up by a passing mechanical arm and carried away.
And this guy just watches all of this happen. He literally doesn't try to prevent this at all. Is he supposed to be the good scientist or the bad one?
Maybe he was frozen in wonder at a mechanical arm defying the laws of physics. How a machine only displaying up and down movement can clip a corpse right through a control panel is beyond me. Realistically, the animation should have played out like this.
But instead, we get this confusing mess of a scene where Detroit is carried off while this guy watches on like an idiot. Finally, Detroit is turned into this.
Whoa, what happened? Where'd the cloak come from?
Where did his jaw go? Yes, the game is telling us Detroit's the villain.
We get a stream of images with zero context that ends in a barren post-apocalyptic wasteland.
And even if you do get here, I wonder whether she will still be alive.
We'll see!
Gosh, this animation is terrible. Why did they bother making a cutscene if they clearly didn't care what it looked like?
Or care if it made sense. We have character models taken straight from the first game, like Detroit, Sid, and Mia, the dummy with lime green jello in her veins.
But then we have this guy, Advisor, a new character we've never seen before. Mia's crater is supposed to be this guy from the first game, BM Workin'.
Shane, is that a poop joke?
Pretty sure it's a poop joke.
Poop joke confirmed. So we're getting the backstory, how Detroit was created and that he hates the other scientists for creating Mia. But then they change out established characters. Do they want us to be confused?
When it's finally over, we get taken to the Crash Dummy title page, and we're greeted by Sid's theme song.
This song appeared on the title screen for CID the Dummy as well. We couldn't help but compare it to Weapon of Choice by Fatboy Slim.
Sounds like Mr. Fatboy can sue him twice now.
We press the play button because there's literally nothing else we can do, and it takes us straight to the level select. There's no menu or options to speak of.
Signs all over the place that we should probably prep for bad game whiplash.
Let's get this disaster going with the mandatory tutorial, where we're treated to another cutscene. This time, it's static images without voiceover.
We'll see.
Probably for the best.
Hold on, that isn't the same scientist from the opening scene.
Wait, he has the same name, Advisor, but now he looks like BM Workin from the first game. So, is he the same character? Why did they change his name? Why did they change his look for one scene?
The characters aren't the only thing we recognize here. This dialogue is also exactly the same as the dialogue from the first game's intro.
That's it. He's the one. Every day I hear him complaining. Yes, number 12. I know, but I have no other option.
Except they altered the name of his little robot helper. It's changed to Copcam number 12.
Copcam? What is that supposed to mean? You just don't pull Copcam out of...
Okay, we alluded to the fact that these guys were not so slyly paying homage to the Blue Bomber in our last episode, but man, any more on the nose and you're poking gray matter.
Yeah, but apparently they also took inspiration from their own game. Look, just like in the previous Wii title, Sid gets roped into hero duty to save the professor's dummy daughter, Mia.
Did they make a second game with the exact same story?
Well, it was so good the last time. I guess they didn't think they could top it.
You are the only hope I have of finding my daughter.
Your daughter?
We finally get into the tutorial and, believe it or not, it already plays terrible. And we're just walking!
It takes a second for your input to move Sid, and it takes him a while to stop after you've taken your finger off the control.
Compare this to a competent 2D action platformer and sequel, the fitting Mega Man 2 on NES. You feel immediately what Crash Dummy is lacking. You have precision control over your character, allowing you to master the game's challenges. They figured that out decades ago.
But Sid? It's like he's walking on a hardwood floor smeared with motor oil while he's wearing butter boots.
To add to the frustration, the tutorial is basically useless. They don't tell us what any of the controls actually are.
Use the jump button? Oh, thanks for that, Professor. We wouldn't have thought to use the jump button. Which button is the f***ing jump button? Tutorialize us!
Some games are designed so well that they can teach you to play without any formal tutorial at all. Crash Dummy makes us go through a tutorial that doesn't actually tell us anything.
The only lesson we learn is that these controls all feel terrible, like the way Sid attacks.
There's no satisfaction in this gameplay. No quick, snappy action. You feel like you're waiting for character animations to play through so you can hit another button and inevitably wait some more.
Compare this to other games with side-scrolling combat. You hit the attack button and your character attacks. Near instant gratification. Crash Dummy doesn't do this.
And it's not like Sid's enemies just wait around for him to attack. They're quick, and their attacks always win over Sid's because they get frames of invulnerability. So even if you do technically get a punch in first, it doesn't really matter.
They attack at random intervals, meaning you can't really build a strategy. And Sid doesn't have a defense move to protect himself other than running away.
Sid does have a bazooka, but you have to find ammo for it, and it's in very short supply. This means, more often than not, you'll be resorting to fisticuffs.
And the ammo pickups only give you 25 shots. In the first game, each pickup gave you 100 shots. You're holding out on us, Crash Dummy.
Yeah, it's like the developers went out of their way to hassle the player. Like the spring. Sid can't reach the extra life or that platform, and there's nowhere else for Sid to go. Why the hell is this here?
It's not like collecting that extra life is even useful. You're just wasting our time.
Because in Crash Dummy, it doesn't matter if you die.
When Sid dies, a level does not reload. You simply respawn in the exact same place you were taken out.
No having to replay from a checkpoint, no restarting at the beginning of the level. Sid's knocked out and bounces right back. And it doesn't stop there. Losing all your lives basically doesn't matter either.
And you might be wondering, what? How could that not matter?
Well, when you lose all your lives and get a game over, the game doesn't restart in any way. You respawn where you last died, full health, restocked with 3 more unnecessary lives.
They may have planned for levels to restart after a game over, but we're betting the devs themselves were unable to complete any of these stages. Their probable fix was to get rid of any kind of real game over punishment.
You'd think this would make the game insanely easy to play, but never forget the golden rule we've been learning throughout this series. Bad games are usually broken games.
No, we did not edit that. In the first level of the game, Sid fell off a ledge in the wrong spot and we walked right into a game-breaking glitch. Yeah, we had no choice but to restart and play the game from the beginning.
Wait, what? Where was the pause menu? It just jumped out to the level select page without any warning. What if we just wanted to pause for a break?
I don't know, but I get the feeling there's more to the story of this game than it simply being a sequel to a 10-year-old Wii title. Let's do some research on the developer. Maybe looking at what they've been up to in the past decade will give us a clue.
Wait, does that say porting Sid the Dummy to iOS?
And that iOS game has the exact same name and art as Crash Dummy.
So we've been playing a remake of Sid the Dummy this whole time?
We can't call this a remake, can we? It's literally losing a dimension. It's 2D now. Look at it. This is a D-make, dang it. I refuse to hear otherwise.
A D-make, and in the worst possible way. Everything about Crash Dummy is a step back from its crummy Wii predecessor.
This game wasn't designed for the Switch, for the PS4, or even the PC. We've been playing a touchscreen game designed to use all the power of a cell phone from 2012.
But it can't be the exact same touchscreen game ported over. Surely they spruced it up for a console release.
It's the same game.
Well, for them to be bringing it over to home consoles all these years later must mean it was fairly well received at the time. What were people saying about it?
I can only find one user review for the iOS Crash Dummy. It was posted in January 2014 by a user named 12 Games.
There is no way.
10 out of 10. A fantastic classic action platformer. Full of brainy puzzles, big level, funny monster, and dangerous retro arcade style big bosses. Easy to control. The virtual joystick makes a good job with only 2 buttons on screen to jump and attack. A console style game on your mobile.
They didn't even attempt to hide that this review was left by the developers themselves. It's brazen. Stunning, really.
To summarize, the Crash Dummy game we're playing is a port of a touchscreen mobile game, which itself was a demake of a bad 3D game that we've already played.
And Sid the Dummy on Wii was actually better. Yes, it used the Wii's waggly Wiimote.
But at least when the motion controls would fail, it wasn't a surprise. That was a typical Wii-wide issue for bad games on the platform.
But Crash Dummy is using physical buttons, and the inputs still don't work. How do you even do that?
Sometimes you press jump and Sid just won't jump. And in a platforming game, jumping is a very important mechanic. You tend to use it a lot.
And then there's Sid's long, laggy walk cycle, which will carry him right where you don't want him to go.
Yes, jumping and walking, 2 definitive platforming mechanics, are completely unreliable. But what if you combined both of these elements into one mega mechanic?
Here we introduce the wall jump, an ability taken from the game's 3D iteration. You use it to make Sid kick wall buttons and do fancy backflips.
In Crash Dummy, you wall jump by running into the wall and pressing jump. Now, you may not immediately understand why this is so terrible. Well, what do you do a lot in a 2D side-scrolling platformer?
You walk up to walls and jump up to the next level. So guess what accidentally happens a lot in Crash Dummy? This right here, this is garbage.
Son of a dummy!
2 separate instances of the exact same level-breaking glitch? What are the odds of that?
I think the question is, what are the odds that's the only level-breaking glitch in the game?
Oh no.
30 minutes later.
We've been trying to make this jump for a while, folks.
It's already worked dozens of other times, but not here. Why?
Maybe we need to try a different controller?
Nope, still can't make this jump.
Stop. Obviously the level is broken. I think we have to restart the game and hope that fixes it.
What is going on?
Changing controllers didn't work. Restarting the game and the level didn't work. There's nothing else we can do. There's nothing else we can... Yay.
We did it. We made the impossible jump and can get the rest of this nightmare over with.
8 minutes later!
We cannot get through this timed gate. And not because of the timer, it's because of the controls.
It's impossible to make it across when Sid's broken jump lands us in the acid. Again and again.
Hey, where'd the button go that lowers the gate? It's gone? Does this mean the gate is down permanently? No. Oh no. Oh no.
Great, the game's glitched and now there's no way to lower the gate. We're trapped.
We're gonna have to restart and play it again. And you know what that means.
Oh, it worked this time. First try.
The game put us through agony, having to repeat the same stupid button inputs over and over again, but now it just works?
Uh-huh.
I honestly don't know whether I should be relieved or enraged.
Maybe this'll cheer you up. A ghost tube. Maybe the ghost of the money we wasted on Crash Dummy will come out and say hi.
Not worth it! Not sure the context, but he's not wrong.
I guess we don't need to be told we wasted money on Crash Dummy. We know.
And it's not only the game-breaking glitches, unresponsive controls, and lazy level design that bugs us.
It's that Crash Dummy happens to be a masterclass in what we call
Spiteful game design.
This is when it feels like a game developer is sending you a direct "I hate you" message with every design choice.
These spike pits are everywhere, and they all suck.
But the worst are the ones they literally hide from you, so you don't have any chance of avoiding them.
There's no point, no strategy. They're there to spite you.
There are also automatic gun turrets, and they are the ultimate game design middle finger.
When you get close, they fire at you mercilessly until you run away.
Sid has no defense against them, but the worst part? He's supposed to.
In the CID The Dummy release on Wii, there are automatic turrets in this level, but Sid can disable them. When he does, the red light on top turns green and they stop firing.
Here, the same red light is present, but it doesn't do anything. You have no interaction options with these things at all.
So they included the automatic death machines, but didn't include the ability to turn them off? Can't even demake your own freaking game properly.
Let's look at Mega Man again. Yes, the games are also challenging, throw lots of enemies at you, and, at least initially, you will die a lot. But you never have anyone to blame but yourself.
With every death, you learn something new about how the level is played, and then you're actually able to apply what you've learned to get better at the game, which only works because the inputs work every time, and the enemies' attacks are predictable.
It may look chaotic, but there actually is purpose to the design. It's organized chaos.
In Crash Dummy, it's just plain chaos.
At least in Mega Man, his jump always worked. What's wrong with this game? We just get past a section where the jump is glitched and the same problem comes up again in the same level.
This is enough. I've put up with broken gameplay and glitch after glitch, but I can only take so much.
Looks like we won't be able to complete Crash Dummy after all.
Oh, we will finish the game.
How are we gonna do that?
We've been playing the Nintendo Switch release, but this isn't the only version of the game. We're gonna buy Crash Dummy on PC and PS4 because at least one of them must freaking work. Not worth it!
Okay, let's do it. The platforming, the fighting, the spiking. Let's do it all over again.
We started by trying out Crash Dummy on PC, and we immediately noticed problems. The first one was that the game did not function with the keyboard. It's a PC game. How did you forget that function?
No matter what we tried, we couldn't get it to work. We're serious, folks.
We also realized that the game doesn't have a quit or exit function. We were forced to Control-Alt-Delete to quit the game.
What are you doing with your life? If they thought that was okay, then we were afraid to see what else this version had in store for us, so we never turned it back on again.
Switch down, PC down. All we've got left is the PlayStation 4 version.
And this one comes with its own specific flaws.
Like the PlayStation 4 home menu doesn't suspend the game. Leaves it alone too long, and this can happen. So player beware.
And then there was this error in the tutorial dialogue. Professor, what's this spring for?
Prof equals 1.
You can bounce against the horizontal springs using Super Run. You will be going fast enough to perform your smash move.
That second line is supposed to be read by the professor, but a typo in their own code put his line in Sid's dialogue box. Whoops.
There's also bizarre, small differences, like the number of orbs here. On Switch, it was just 2 orbs and Sid missed one of them. But on PS4, there's a line of 5 and Sid follows it perfectly.
It happens again here. On Switch, there's no orbs above this spring, but on PS4, you get all the orbs.
Ultimately, it doesn't make a difference, but it is noticeable. Kinda like the game's controls. On PS4, we maybe felt like we had a little bit more control than on Switch, but not enough to make this game feel good to play. But it does mean things have changed and we might be able to beat this one.
I can't believe we're playing this game so much that we're able to see version differences. I don't think I want this knowledge. I don't think anyone wants this knowledge.
Oh, but look! That jump we couldn't make in the Switch release? We cleared it on the PS4. It only took us 8 minutes. So clearly the game's not that much better on PS4, just enough to actually allow us to finish it, hopefully.
As we get further and further in Crash Dummy, it becomes apparent the developers just stopped caring at a certain point.
They stopped explaining mechanics, like how to navigate past these rectangular obstacles in the Ice Mountain level. What even are these? You have no bazooka ammo to shoot at them, and you can't punch them.
You do get freeze gun ammo, but they don't tell you anything about how your freeze gun works or what it could be used for.
You have to figure out for yourself that you shoot the gray monolith to freeze it, then punch it. You also are left to figure out why a concrete rectangle is just in the middle of nowhere on an icy mountain.
But maybe the worst is this one specific sequence of the volcano level.
We were so impressed by how many wrong choices could be made in a short sequence that we just have to break it down.
The gray platform here is rising up and down, clipping through the lava and level geometry.
When Sid jumps off the platform, he clips through the ceiling.
They made the board Sid has to land on a lava red color, the color of danger and death. Once you're done fighting off a lava rock monster with the already established bad combat mechanics, we come to a dead end. This is the end of the level. So where do you go?
The only option appears to be jumping into the lava. The lava the game just told us we shouldn't get close to because it's gonna melt our dummy friend.
The game has been broken and buggy and downright frustrating, but they wouldn't go this far, would they? That actually worked?
It's crazy! There's no way someone thought this was okay! It's just totally counter to every game design principle you'd learn if you ever played any video game ever made!
But that all pales in comparison to the final level, Detroit's Castle. This is proof that at the end, they just gave up.
The level has led us here to this opening. We go through it, and there's another platforming section.
It leads to a dead end, so we backtrack and return to the castle.
Where there's nowhere to go except where we came from. Or back to where we just were. The game has stranded us with no idea where we should go.
We seriously considered that the game broke itself and we hit the end of the road, but there was one thing we hadn't tried yet.
They made a doorway that you have to jump over to get past. And it's not hidden away down a hall or at the end of the level. It's smack dab in the middle of the level. They actually designed something that diverts you away from where you need to go.
They're not even trying to be subtle with this spiteful game design. They're just laughing right in our faces.
Joke's on you for playing this game. This level is just one spiteful trap after another. Like this gap that's so narrow, Sid has trouble getting through.
This dead end we hit and didn't know how to get to the next level? Turns out they placed a spring hidden behind this fan.
These rotary saw blades that are placed perfectly so Sid can't avoid them, we tried ducking under them, but we couldn't. And then we can't jump over them because there's a ceiling there blocking our jump. They left us with no options. You make bad purchasing decisions.
Hey, that's my line! More proof that the team started doing whatever they wanted is hung on the castle walls.
There's absolutely no reason for Detroit to hang up a picture of Steve Jobs.
Or Sir Clive Sinclair, the creator of the ZX Spectrum computer.
And it just gets weirder with the ghosts from Pac-Man, the Super Mushroom from Super Mario Brothers, and Pong.
Why would Detroit have a picture of Pong in his castle? Is he a big retro gamer or something?
I'd really like to know the backstory on this.
Speaking of story, we're nearing the end of this one. We make it through this hideous level and defeat Detroit himself.
I will have my revenge. Soon.
Well done, Sid. I knew you could do it. Mia is safe and sound, back where she belongs.
Actually, it wasn't my idea. I only did it so I could see life outside the warehouse. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
I said you were different. I'm so proud of you both. Let's go home.
Your reward for your patience and perseverance through this nightmare of a game is a 60-second cutscene that basically says, congratulations, now let's go home.
No credits or anything. Apparently no one wanted their name attached to this crime against fun.
Crash Dummy does not feel like a labor of love. Everything about this game comes off as cheap and lazy. The glitchy levels, the sloppy controls, not to mention the fact that the entire game is basically a low-quality copy and paste of Sid the Dummy.
And these flashcard cutscenes are just terrible. We don't mean the graphics. This is probably the best the basic cell phones could actually do at the time. It's what's below the graphics that's wrong.
They didn't even format the text properly. Sentences just run into each other with no spaces between them.
And they start to use name labels and color coding so we know what's going on. But once you get to the second cutscene, these labels disappear.
And color coding? Gone. For the rest of the game, all cutscene dialogue is in purple, except for the first line, which is yellow for some reason.
And you can't even follow what's going on at times through all the typos and errors. Just listen to this. Mia Dummy must be taken away from Professor Advisor. We must prevent him to waste the ESS technology at all costs.
I know you're in Detroit's castle, but I need to find the way. Right now, I'm in a cemetery?
I'm so impressed. Professor Advisor made a very good job with you. Nobody has reached the entrance of my castle before.
Try to shoot him when he's not attacking you.
Yeah, I don't know. Crazy puppet! I'm waiting. You on the top of my tower? End period 1?
Well, tough. I got lost, but thanks for the useful info. Now I know I'm on the right way.
You are getting yourself into serious troubles.
They started with an idea, and then they just gave up.
They just gave up. That's the best way to describe this entire game.
Instead of porting their already existing 3D game over to new platforms, they reinvented their once terrible game into something even worse that feels far lazier than what came before.
If someone asked us what Sid the Dummy game they should play, we'd say none.
But if you had to pick one, if someone was threatening your life at blaster point, it would never be any version of this game.
We didn't like the first game, not even a little bit. But to know, to witness, to experience this diluted demake, I'm without words.
Really? Because I think there's 3 that probably come to mind.
It's just